Donald Trump has spent years trying to weaken Canada's auto industry. He did it through tariffs, through threats, and through relentless pressure campaigns. The goal was always the same: undermine Canadian manufacturing and push investment out of the country. Today, Mark Carney answered all of that with a single, decisive move. With Canada's new auto strategy, Carney didn't just defend Canadian manufacturing, he rewrote the rules of the game. He created incentives that actively pull investment into Canada, protect Canadian jobs, and position this country as the most attractive place to build cars in all of North America. And in doing so, he delivered a direct blow to Donald Trump's economic playbook. This strategy strengthens Canadian automakers, forces global companies to invest here, and leaves Washington facing the consequences of its own hostility. In this video, we're breaking down how Mark Carney outplayed Trump, why this plan caught the White House completely off guard.
The question before us is clear. How do we protect what we've built while positioning ourselves to lead what comes next? And our answer is simple. We are an auto nation. We have the best auto workers in the world. And we will build the best cars in the world for the world. And we will invest in those who invest in us.
And how it could reshape North American manufacturing for the next decade. What Mark Carney unveiled today was not just another government announcement, it was a calculated, long-term power move designed to lock Canada into the heart of the global auto industry for decades. This strategy is built on three hard realities. First, Ottawa is now putting real money behind Canadian manufacturing, supporting domestic plants, battery production, and next-generation electric vehicle supply chains that stay inside Canada instead of drifting abroad. Second, this plan reshapes where cars are built and where parts are sourced, making Canadian-based production the default rather than the exception. Third, it binds provinces, unions, and private manufacturers into long-term partnerships that protect jobs, stabilize investment, and prevent sudden industrial collapse. In plain terms, Canada is drawing a clear economic red line. Cars will be built here, technology will be developed here, value will be created here, and it will stay here. This is not a short-term response to headlines. It is a structural reset designed to shield Canada from political chaos in Washington, reduce exposure to trade blackmail, and ensure that no foreign leader can casually threaten an industry that employs hundreds of thousands of Canadians. This is economic sovereignty built directly into policy, and it marks a pivotal moment for both the auto sector and the broader economy. U.S. tariffs have upended a long-standing trade bargain, placing Canadian workers, businesses.
This is a pivotal moment both for the industry and our economy. We know that U.S. tariffs have upended the bargain that's existed for as long as I've lived. It's put our workers, our businesses, our country under a cloud of uncertainty. We also know, you see some of the innovation here, we know that the global auto sector has been radically transformed. Rapid shifts towards lower emissions, towards greater connectivity, towards even more advanced manufacturing. So the decisions that Canada makes now will shape careers, communities, and our economies for decades to come. And we will not miss this opportunity.
And communities under a cloud of uncertainty. At the same time, the global auto industry is undergoing a historic transformation, rapid shifts toward lower emissions, greater connectivity, and more advanced manufacturing. The decisions Canada makes right now will shape careers, communities, and economic growth for decades, and Canada is making it clear this opportunity will not be missed. The strategy also sends a clear warning to Washington.
A couple of key points on the trade stuff. First, a reiteration in this strategy to maintain a 25% tariff, counter tariff really on what's imported from the U.S. Of course, if it is CUSMA compliant, has a lot of North American content in it, it's been exempt from that. But again, the point of restating that is to signal to Washington that if CUSMA goes away, then they are looking at a 25% tariff, and the intention of the Carney government is to have that in place.
If the United States ever chooses to walk away from CUSMA, Canada's response would be immediate, automatic 25% tariffs on American exports. That would hit U.S. manufacturers, farmers, and workers just as hard as anyone else. In other words, tearing up the trade deal wouldn't weaken Canada. It would trigger a self-inflicted economic crisis for Donald Trump. One of the most striking elements of today's announcement is how unexpected it was in Washington. Trump's trade strategy thrives on chaos. It depends on uncertainty, last-minute pressure, and public threats to force concessions. Mark Carney did the opposite. This policy was prepared quietly, negotiated carefully, coordinated nationally, and unveiled decisively.
There was no public drama,
No leak-driven speculation, no reactive scramble. By the time Washington began analyzing the implications, the framework was already in place. That is strategic leadership. Trump prefers opponents who panic. Carney delivers preparation. What makes this strategy truly powerful is that it treats economic policy as national security policy. Mark Carney isn't talking about factories for headlines. He's talking about Canadian resilience for decades. Because when supply chains break, nations become exposed. When industries depend on foreign political moods, sovereignty weakens. That is how economic weakness turns into political vulnerability. This Canadian auto strategy confronts those risks directly. It protects Canada from future trade shocks driven by Trump. It reduces exposure to pressure and manipulation. It secures thousands of skilled, middle-class jobs. And by doing that, it strengthens Canada's position on the world stage not through shouting or threats, but through structure, stability, and long-term strength. One of the most strategically important parts of this plan is the consumer rebate tied directly to Canadian-made vehicles. When Canadian families are rewarded for buying vehicles built at home, domestic manufacturers gain an immediate structural advantage. Demand becomes predictable, production becomes stable, long-term investment becomes viable again. But the impact goes far beyond Canada's current auto sector. For manufacturers in China, Japan, and South Korea that do not yet build vehicles in Canada, this policy sends a clear message. If you want access to Canadian consumers, if you want to benefit from these rebates, and if you want to remain competitive in North America, you will have to build here. That means new factories and thousands of high-quality Canadian jobs. This is exactly what Donald Trump has spent years trying to prevent. His strategy was designed to pull manufacturing south, weaken Canada's industrial base, and make the United States the unavoidable center of auto production. Tariffs, threats, and pressure campaigns were meant to scare investors away from Canada. Mark Carney has now flipped that logic entirely. Instead of fear driving decisions, opportunity will. Canada is positioning itself as the most attractive destination for future auto manufacturing in North America. Stable policy, strong incentives, skilled workers, direct consumer support, a combination Washington cannot easily replicate. In practical terms, Trump's attempt to weaken Canada's auto sector is now backfiring, rather than hollowing it out. It has helped
Rather than
create the
hollowing it out,
conditions
he has
for
helped
its
create the
renewal.
conditions
For
its renewal.
Canadian
In
workers,
fact, more
this
broadly,
strategy is
companies
not
like Mark Maria,
abstract. It is concrete.
we
It
are in
means
active
stable
discussions
employment,
with a
long-term
range of
investment,
potential new
advanced
investors
training, modern
from a broader
facilities,
range of
and
countries.
protection
Korea would
from
be one
political
example,
volatility.
in the Canadian
For
auto sector for
decades,
Canadian production.
auto workers
And
have
we are
lived under
working with
constant uncertainty,
the Detroit
wondering
3,
whether
the
the
major
next
American
U.S.
auto
policy
makers,
shift
on
would cost
retooling
them
some of
their
their plans,
livelihoods.
expanding
Carney's
activity
strategy
here,
dramatically
and integrating there.
reduces that
Importantly,
vulnerability. It
the
sends a clear
effectiveness of the
message:
work with the
workers'
U.S.
futures will not be dictated by tweets, tantrums, or trade wars. They will be shaped by Canadian policy. Beyond North America, today's announcement sends a powerful signal to global markets. Canada is no longer positioning itself as a junior partner. It is asserting itself as an independent economic power. Investors see stability. Manufacturers see predictability. Allies see seriousness. Rivals see limits. Trade dominance loses its edge when partners develop independent capacity, and Mark Carney understands that. Today's auto strategy is not a press release. It is a statement of intent. It declares that Canada will defend its industries with intelligence rather than impulse. It shows that leadership in the modern world is about preparation, not provocation. It proves that Mark Carney is not merely responding to Donald Trump, he is outthinking him. While Trump continues to govern through disruption and unpredictability, Carney is building systems designed to endure beyond any single administration. That is how nations protect their future. And that is why today's announcement represents one of the most important economic moments of this political era. Before we wrap up, thank you for supporting Canada Nexus. This channel exists to deliver clear, independent analysis on Canada's politics, economy, and global position without noise or spin. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and your support right now truly matters. If you value serious insight into Canada's future, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, and share this video. Canada Nexus is just getting started, and you're part of building it.